Um, can you, I guess, introduce yourself, name, major,
Yeah.
school, all that jazz?
Yeah, okay, so my name is Anna. I just graduated from Whitman College in Washington State. I studied psychology and studio art, so I've never done any sort of computer science before, first time.
What extracurriculars did you do at school?
I played volleyball for Whitman for about a year and a half. I did that since about sixth grade. That was my main extracurricular. I was really involved with like the psych department. That was about it.
Okay, and why did you choose to do Horizon? Because you graduated?
Yeah, so I graduated already. Horizons was a little bit of a random choice for me, for sure. I graduated and spent so much time doing psychology and art and realized that I didn't necessarily want to continue with that. So I wasn't sure quite where I wanted to go. So Horizons was a fun way to try out something new without making a really big long-term commitment. You know, if I hated it, worst case scenario, it's just a summer. And it sounded like something that would push me, something really exciting. So I tried that.
How did you find out about Horizons?
I got an email from the head of the psychology department at Whitman, and I heard about it just through that. I tried to ask for more information, but no one from Whitman had actually done Horizons before, so I couldn't talk to any Whitman students. So I just contacted Avi directly and started asking more questions about it.
And what were your expectations given the fact that you didn't know much about it?
Yeah, honestly, I was really nervous coming into it. I wasn't sure quite what to expect. Horizons was a lot more welcoming and warm than I thought it would be. I definitely thought that I would be very out of place, not having a CS background, but it hasn't been too difficult at all. It's pushed me, but it hasn't been unwelcoming in any way.
So given you had no computer science background and probably used a computer science boot camp,
Yeah.
on the days that you were overwhelmed,
Yeah.
how did you manage? What did
Yeah,
you do?
I mean, one thing that I realized is really helpful is to kind of think about how if one particular thing that you're learning is really hard, you're going to move on soon enough, and then things kind of start to make more sense after you've moved on and tried to incorporate it in other ways. And also just talking to the people here, everyone's so helpful. If I have a question, I can ask the instructors or the TAs, or if I'm too intimidated to talk to an instructor directly, just talk to another student, and they're so helpful.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how can you describe the day-to-day for the program?
Yeah, so every morning we have either a 3-hour lecture or we have some morning videos to go through, and then afternoon is pair programming. So we spend a lot of time just in groups, small groups usually, but then you can also kind of interact with other students. And you're given a set of exercises and you just have to work through them. And I really like that they kind of give you a baseline, a guideline that you're trying to get to, but there's also bonus exercises. So you can kind of go a little further if you want to, or just kind of call it out wherever you want to.
Okay. And so, given that there aren't any grades, there aren't any tests,
Yeah.
why would you do any of the exercises?
Yeah, it's very self-motivated for sure. Honestly, one of the biggest motivators is seeing other students do some of the things. You don't technically have to do the bonuses or technically have to even finish if you don't want to. But there's this kind of knowledge that A, you'll fall behind, and B, that you won't get as much out of this as you can get out of it. So I'm very motivated to actually do some of the bonuses, or at least finish every day, just because that's what I'm here to do. You know, you're dedicating your whole summer to this, so may as well.
You're at school to do the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is it different?
I mean, I think the fact that there aren't grades is kind of a little bit more motivating, honestly.
There aren't or are?
That there aren't grades here. Yeah, because I mean, at school, you kind of do the work, but there's this knowledge that you're doing it to get an A, or to not fail out of a class. Whereas here, you kind of have to ask yourself why you're doing things, and it seems a lot more intrinsically motivated just because you aren't being graded. So it's really helpful, honestly.
Okay. Can you share a little bit about your experience with the people here?
Yeah.
Friends, TAs, instructors?
Yeah, I love all the people here. I think it's kind of helpful that even the founders and all the instructors are relatively young, because they feel a little bit more approachable, a little bit more relatable. The TAs are so helpful. You can tell that they genuinely care about helping you, which is really nice. And if they can't figure out your problem, then they'll go get someone else who can help you figure it out. And the people are great. I've made some really good friends here that I'll definitely keep in contact with. So.
What about the friends that you've made here has been different than friends at school, or just overall your school experience socially?
Yeah, I think some of the friends I've made here are maybe even a little bit more diverse than the friends I had at school, just because I went to a really small liberal arts school that like attracted the same like specific kind of people. So it's interesting to come here and you kind of get like, my school didn't even have a CS program, so like I didn't know any CS kids ever. So it's interesting to come here and like meet a different sort of people.
What's different about a CS person versus
People
another
are
person?
definitely more motivated here. Maybe it's just the type of program like that it attracts motivated people, but it's nice to be around people like that.
Okay. The relationships that you've developed here, was it ever intimidating for you to talk to maybe a CS person or an instructor, or what was that like?
Yeah, I
Or the
mean,
speakers even?
yeah, the first like week or two is definitely intimidating to talk to people, just because like I said, like I'd never really interacted with people who tend to study CS or anything like that. So it's just like a different sort of like human. But I mean, that like went away really fast. Like everyone's so welcoming and nice, obviously.
Can you share a little bit about your classroom experience, or the experience that you've had outside of the Horizons classroom?
Yeah.
Be it speakers or field days or whatever, like even trips you've done on the weekend.
Yeah, so like just this past weekend, I drove down to LA with a couple of Horizons students. That was a lot of fun. I definitely like hang out with Horizons kids outside of class more than I thought I would. Honestly, I kind of came into this being like, well, we're going to spend so much time together during the week that like I'm probably not going to want to see any of them outside of it. But that definitely isn't like quite what I expected. Like I end up hanging out with them a lot, which is nice. I'm planning on going to Europe with one in like a month, so
Okay.
yep.
Cool. What's been the extra add-ons that Horizons has given you outside of like the curriculum or the classroom lectures or whatever, like speakers or like the hackathons or whatever? What are those extra experiences like, and which ones have you really enjoyed?
Yeah, I mean, I think moving forward, I'm definitely going to utilize the network a lot, both in terms of like for potential jobs and like internships, stuff like that, and also just like general like life advice. Like I feel very much like I can like email like some of the TAs or like instructors and like get like genuine advice on things outside of that. I'm definitely going to try to use that.
Okay, and the network of students or network of speakers? Or
Yeah, kind of a mix. Definitely have like students and instructors. They also like seem very willing to introduce us to people like in the industry if we want to like get introductions or like contact info, things like that. So that's really nice to know.
So how, like, if this program was, I don't know, in another city, would it change? Like, would your experience change?
Honestly, probably yeah, a little bit. San Francisco is really kind of inspirational just because so much of, especially like that we're in SOMA, so much of the like buildings and people around us are like tech people. So it's kind of nice to see that. Like I see like the Twitter headquarters from my bedroom window. Like it's like always there, you know. It's pretty nice. You know, there's a lot of contacts.
In your, where are you staying, and like the type of people like that you meet that aren't necessarily Horizons, like what's that like? What's that interaction?
Yeah, so I'm in a really like big apartment building, probably a few hundred people live there. It's mostly students. It's a lot of students and like summer internships, but my floor is mostly Horizons kids, so that's where I see them most. But you also get to interact with other students, which is nice.
And those students are like, what are they up to, I guess?
I think a lot of it is just like tech internships in the city. I'm not entirely sure,
Okay.
but yeah.
What would you tell someone who has absolutely no coding experience before coming?
Not to be as scared as I was, definitely. I think that was like a huge thing. Like I considered not doing this just because I thought that it would be like a little bit out of my reach. But honestly, like it hasn't been that bad to keep up just because people are so supportive and like genuinely try to help you. So I'd say don't be too scared of it. Like it's really reachable and like
Prep
doable.
work, did that scare you?
Yeah, oh yeah, I definitely struggled with the prep work a bit, but like it's been fine here. You know, once you have like help, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. How has this kind of helped you pivot? You mentioned you were kind of switching out psych and all of that. Like, how's it switching?
Yeah, I definitely am looking more at tech jobs than I was before. Like now I'm thinking of maybe doing like freelance web design, stuff like that. Or like I was kind of considering UX design, and now like I still don't know that much about that, but I'm realizing that I would like to go more in that direction than like the psychology direction. So it's definitely encouraged me to like pivot a little bit.
And is that pivot easier now?
Yeah, oh for sure. Now that I have like some more knowledge about the industry and like more contacts that I could utilize, it's definitely easier.
Okay. Just a couple more questions. how has a coding boot camp empowered you to be an entrepreneur?
An entrepreneur. I mean, I think it's nice to know that if you dedicate a lot of time to something, that really like good things can come out of it quickly. Like the fact that we learned so much in such a short amount of time, like makes me believe that I can do a lot of other things really fast and like execute them well.
Do you have an anecdote?
I mean, just the fact that like I remember looking at the syllabus before coming here, and like people would ask me what I was going to learn, and I literally couldn't tell them because I didn't know what any of the words on the syllabus meant. And now I can like explain those.